Hey MMA fans, Cage Minds, your host Micah Frankel. Let's go over and recap the Ultimate Fighter 15 finale, the first one live, FX. Whole season was live and it was crazy. We got 10 fights from the finale to talk about. We gave you no predictions. Let's just recap the action from the events. Start off with the one Facebook prelim, John Albert taking on late replacement Eric Perez. Most significant action in this fight is John Albert goes for a takedown, is successful with it. Perez pops right back up to his feet. Albert tries to lock in a standing rear naked choke. Jumps up, tries to get his legs in around the back for the hooks, but finds himself too high. Perez shakes him off. They go to the ground. Perez is in Albert's guard. Albert throws up a triangle submission, locks it in, but Perez uses ground and pound to get out of it, forcing then Albert to transition to an armbar attempt. Again, Perez escapes, transitioning, scrambling, ending up in a backwards mount position. Then seeing Albert's arm open, he goes for his own armbar. They end up in the position where Eric Perez has a fully locked in belly down armbar, and John Albert is in visual agony in space. But without a verbal submission or without a tap out, referee Kim Winslow just stops the fight. Albert is beside himself, upset. Perez gets the first round debut, late notice submission victory. Both fighters, though, do get their bonus for winning the fight, as Dana White felt it was an unjustified stoppage. The Las Vegas Athletic Commission probably does need to take a look, reevaluate the performance of their referee Kim Winslow, and possibly some disciplinary actions on her, towards her, for the unjustifiable stoppage, some retraining, something like that. Now we move on to the Fuel TV prelims, where these were all members of the cast fighting each other. Start off with Joe Proctor versus Jeremy Larson. Larson was controlling the round, striking, and Proctor was having trouble getting the fight to the ground. Larson then blitzes in with strikes, puts his head too low. Proctor gets his hands behind Larson's head, pulls down for the big knee, and then Proctor is able to finish Larson with a hammer fist on the ground. First career TKO and MMA for Joe Proctor. Nice debut for him. Move on now. We got Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu expert Cristiano Marcelo versus knockout expert, power in both hands, Sam Sicilia. Sicilia headhunting throughout the first round. In the second round, Marcelo finds his range, is landing some more strikes, but then kind of gets caught up in it, gets into a brawl. He had been warned that he was leaving his head and his chin way too high when he was exiting exchanges, and trying to exit when Sicilia lands a left, knocking Marcelo against the cage, lands a few punches, a knee to the body, and then some jackhammer fists from over top of the guard, puts Marcelo completely out. A second round TKO from Sam Sicilia. Now we move on. Next fight, Miles Jury versus Chris Saunders. The first round was dictated by Miles Jury and his reach and length, keeping Saunders guessing at bay, and Saunders not able to get inside and get his striking off. In the second round, Miles Jury felt really confident, comes in with a flying knee. Saunders grabs the leg, pulls the side of the leg, gets the takedown, stays in there too long though as he works himself into the guillotine, and Miles Jury eventually gets Chris Saunders to tap from the first round guillotine submission, showing off his well-balanced skills. Now we go up to the last of the prelims, Darren Cruikshank versus Chris Tickle. They had a moment during the season with a water bottle being thrown by Tickle to Cruikshank in the lower region, so they had a fight now on the finale to settle that score, and Cruikshank gets the takedown in the first round, got 3 of them. Chris Tickle gets deducted a point in the first round for an illegal kick to the head of a grounded opponent, which I didn't agree with necessarily. You got to get some leniency on the ground, letting a guy fight off his back, because it is so hard to fight out of it. You got to let the guy fight out of it. Second round, Tickle did land a right-left that did drop Cruikshank, but in the scrambles, and every time Cruikshank needed to get to it, he was able to get back up and be in the dominant grappling position. 29-27 across the board. Darren Cruikshank gets the unanimous decision. Now we move on to the main card. That starts off with Justin Lawerence versus John Kofor. For 2 rounds, all striking basically, Kofor was not able to get the fight to the ground, and Lawerence was finding a great deal of success with his left hook, really causing a hematoma under the right eye of John Kofor. Well, in the third round, a left-right combination charging forward by Lawerence. He ends it with a right high kick, telling John Kofor, "Tell me how my foot tastes." One kick, knockout, never saw it coming. About the toes and the first part of the foot thereafter, right to the jaw. Knockout of the night award from Justin Lawerence with that big massive kick. And also between him and Kofor, they did get the fight of the night award. So that was a sick brawl, a sick statement with that kick from Justin Lawerence. Now we move on to Max Holloway versus Pat Schilling. Both of these guys 0-1 in the UFC, trying to rectify that. And this fight was all Max Holloway, his reach, his striking technical capabilities. Up to 8 jabs he threw at one point, using the fakes, working to the body. Just a complete striking destruction. 30-27 across the board. Max Holloway, only 20 years old, 5-1 in his MMA career, and now 1-1 in the UFC. Youngest fighter in the UFC, a name to keep an eye on. Now we go to an Ultimate Fighter winner from a former season, Jonathan Brookins versus Charles Oliveira. This featherweight fight was sure to be war. Jonathan Brookins, we know he was the better wrestler. Oliveira suspected to have the better stand-up. Oliveira came out with a very much game plan style, the same as Jose Aldo when he took on Jonathan Brookins back in the WEC. Big amount of leg kicks, trying to wear his opponent down. Jonathan Brookins did get a takedown, but from that takedown, the guard of Oliveira forced the fight back to standing in the clinch again. Brookins is able to lock in a guillotine. Oliveira tries to slam his way out of it, pressures his way out, pushing the arms down, is in the guard. From that, he tries to work his way to a mount. Jonathan Brookins is trying to cage walk. Brookins' head too low. Oliveira locks in the guillotine, pulls guard. Second straight, sick, crazy submission out of Charles Oliveira at featherweight. He's found the weight class that best fits him, and he's got the 2 submissions rocking. The calf slicer against Eric Wisely, and now this guillotine against Jonathan Brookins. Oliveira looking great at featherweight. Now we move on to who would be the Ultimate Fighter Season 15 winner, Michael Chiesa, who had to deal with the passing of his father from leukemia once he got on the show, and versus Al Iaquinta, the New Yorker with the big power in his hands. Iaquinta would come out headhunting, looking for the shots. Chiesa would be able to get a body lock, get the fight to the ground. He got the hooks in immediately, had the back of Iaquinta, and after some hand fighting, he gets in the rear naked choke. Michael Chiesa is the first Ultimate Fighter live winner, season winner. He gets a tap-out endorsement, gets the 6-figure contract, also finds himself the submission of the night bonus. Michael Chiesa, what a great story. Great to see him and his family have such a happy moment from how the last 3 months have been so trying for them. And now we go up to the 5-round main event. Jake the Juggernaut Ellenberger versus Martin the Hitman Kampmann. Ellenberger right away lands a big punch, dropping Kampmann, try to finish it off, throwing a lot of punches, but Kampmann was able to regain his awareness, composure. Ellenberger would ride out the first round on top, tried diligently to finish the fight, but really wasn't able to do it. In the second round, it's Ellenberger to land first, hurting Kampmann. Kampmann starting to bleed out his face, and then they come together for another exchange, and out of nowhere, Captain Comeback throws on the cape, and a tight right overhand that has to hit between the eyebrow and the temple of Ellenberger from Kampmann connects. He does the wobbly dance towards the cage. Kampmann, seeing blood in the water, comes forward, grabs a Muay Thai clinch. 1, 2, 3 knees. The third hits the nose. Ellenberger falls to the ground. The ref jumps in before Kampmann can do any more damage, or Ellenberger really has a chance to regain himself. And we have a second Knockout of the Night Award winner. Great comeback, Martin Kampmann, Knockout of the Night Award. And now Martin Kampmann is heading towards a date with Johnny Hendricks to get towards who will meet the winner of the GSP Carlos Condon fight, if that ever happens. There's a lot of confusion at welterweight. This is a little muddied up. For Jake Ellenberger's behalf, he wishes the ref would have gave him a better chance to recover, as he did not allow As he allowed Kampmann more time to recover, Ellenberger felt he wished he had more time. So, of course, we can't end the UFC without some controversy. This has been Cage Minds. It was a great night of fights, though. Uncage the war within yourself. Subscribe to the video, hit the like button, hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching. This has been Cage Minds.